I'm Jessica Windell.
My name's Dennis Houghton.
I'm co-founder and creative director.
Co-founder and creative producer at Focal Studios. LUX was set inside a futuristic control pod that was inspired by classic 80s sci-fi and retro-futuristic games. The players used contactless gesture controls to play with a wondrous virtual machine integrated into the architecture of the bombed-out church. Each interaction from the projected visuals rewarded the player with entrancing multi-sensory feedback, offering a truly unique experience where they become the artist, controller and performer for the gathered audience.
The creative process of LUX spanned over several months. So we were presented with the brief for LightNight, which was Play this year. And we wanted to combine our skills and maybe push our skills a little bit further than we had done before.
It was important to us to ensure people could play with what we made, and not only that, but turn the audience members and participants into part of the installation. We had to engage with other companies in the city to make that possible. We knew there would be a heavy element of design engineering and technology use, which is why we spoke with DefProc Engineering.
And then on our end, it was kind of just working with them to figure out the user journey of how Unity would interact with After Effects, and just figuring out the visual aesthetics of LUX, because we wanted it to kind of draw on inspiration from futuristic, neon-esque 80s, 90s games, but have a unique spin to it. As well as being creative director, I was also part of the animating team. That was kind of the creative process of working alongside DefProc to merge the game elements and the actual kind of physics in with the user journey of how an individual would interact with the game and the animations that would appear as they worked through the narrative of the game.
I'm Patrick Fanner. I'm a founder and director at DefProc Engineering. DefProc's role for LUX was to create the game that was played on the tower, and also to create the non-contact controller for use on the night. So the game design was heavily influenced by the projection and by the space on the tower to try and create the game so that it kind of fitted in with the shapes that were there.
There was a lot of things to consider with projecting onto the building, in terms of mostly just colours. Like reds don't pop on projectors as much, so we'd have to change around that. Certain things like this, as well as just the overall, it is on a building, so you have to abstract yourself away from this is going to be seen differently than what I see.
I was more responsible for the console and that. I know with the game we kind of all had the input to it. We all kind of got together, sat down and kind of brainstormed how we could do it, what kind of bits which bits worked, which would kind of look nice alongside what the Focal Studios kind of idea was. And I very much just background electrical engineering and that's really helped just kind of create the console, getting all the hands-free stuff working, and just kind of sitting down as a team and having a lot of coffee and a lot of kind of long mornings of brainstorm what we could do and how it could all go together.
My name is Katie Jones and I am one of the directors at St Luke's Bombed Out Church. So something really important to us is that as many people interact with the space as possible. We have a lot of people that say they pass the church every day and they've never been inside. Well, this was literally like a beacon of light for people from Hardman Street, and they came inside and interacted in the space in a completely different way to ever done before.
It attracts people to the site who wouldn't otherwise be attracted. And then as a consequence, they are introduced to the story of the site, its heritage, and the other opportunities for participation and personal development which we're trying to develop here. We also have always been so excited about the prospect of using projection mapping on the site, and I think LUX is in many ways a proof of concept which demonstrates its effectiveness. You're looking at the ways in which projection mapping and interactive events can allow us to enhance those events and key dates in the year which are so significant to people in the city and its visitors.
The second thing was it was very important for us to work with lots of different local agencies and businesses, and that definitely ticked the mark with this project.
Hi, my name's Chris Howard. I'm a singer-songwriter, producer, composer, and I was asked to provide the audio and sound effects for the game LUX. Because LUX was obviously so electricity based, I thought it would be a really cool idea to use electrical signals and the sound of like strip lights being turned on to create my own synth sounds rather than using sounds from normal instruments, which is heavily inspired by Hilda Gortendier. I'm probably butchering that. The bit that really inspired me was work on Chernobyl. The entire soundtrack was built from recordings done within discontinued nuclear reactors. So the sounds were literally made from the subject matter themselves, and that was, I thought, was a fantastic approach that I just blatantly copied. I've been a composer and songwriter and arranger for many, many years now, and I've worked on a lot of different projects of all different kinds of genres, so I'm quite used to having to deal with completely different scenarios and have a lot of experience, thankfully now, of working to completely different briefs that require completely different sort of sonic palettes. And I was really lucky with LUX that the things that were sort of talked about in the brief were like, I actually like that stuff anyway, so it was kind of landed on my feet with that.
My name is Laura Sullivan. I'm an artist. I teach art workshops. I'm a painter and I create installations for artwork. So for LUX, I was the events coordinator and I helped to facilitate the entire event. So from organising time schedules for what time different partners were going to arrive on site to creating all the risk assessments to enable us to actually pull this off very safely.
Hi, I'm Cal Williams. I am an audio specialist, a producer, musician and production manager. It's essentially my job to communicate with all the different departments of the team and make sure everybody has everything they need to get the show on the road. A lot of my job also concerns basically pitching in and doing whatever the most pressing job is right now. So sometimes it's calling audio companies, sometimes it's painting sets, sometimes it's getting coffee, sometimes it's lighting, sometimes it's audio. It's a little bit of everything and that's why I love it.
My name is Steve Threlfall. I'm creative director at Urban Workbench. So the guys at Focal Studios approached us to work with them on the fabrication of a gaming booth and a console. So the structure that was there on the night. I guess it's quite similar to a number of one-off commissions that we do in manufacturing here, but actually what was quite unique, I guess, was the creativity and aspirations that both the guys at Focal and DefProc had as well. And that's kind of really interesting, is that the real strength that there was in collaboration in terms of what's possible, not just creating an object or a piece of furniture or a structure, but something which was really engaging and interactive is something that really interests us. And I think there's real potential to do a lot more exciting stuff in the city together, I'm sure.
Yeah, hi, my name's Mark Devanzo and I'm the Chief Executive of the Everyman and Playhouse theatres. The first thing that really attracted me to LUX was that it was a really innovative project. It was a great collaboration between local Liverpool talent and freelancers, and it also meant that we could work in partnership with people like the Bombed Out Church, with Focal Studios of course, and really present something that was digitally quite challenging. We have digital aspirations at the Everyman and Playhouse, and this was a great way of forwarding those ambitions.
Well, no.
No, absolutely not.
I was not very good at playing LUX.
I lost, but I lost well. I did okay.
The reason
We got the high score of the night.
Considering I played it probably over 200 times, I want to say yeah.
I was all right at the game. I'm not going to say I was the best, but I was definitely third. I wasn't actually, I was terrible.
I was pretty shocking at LUX, I'm not gonna lie.
I think it could have been perhaps slightly easier to play. Like I noticed that not a lot of people won, but when they did win, everyone was really ecstatic.
I'd love to try again in the future and hopefully get the high score.
I played it with my wife. She was terrible as well.
For me personally, I mean, seeing the whole thing come together, I think anyone who worked on it would have said the same thing. Just when we were all working, we turned around and actually saw the thing on the side of the church, was just like, that looks amazing.
Look at that!
We'd all been working very separately as so many different partners. to create the event. So it was nice to actually see all these different elements come together.
And actually, as I was approaching it, I cycled to it, and as I was kind of pulling up outside, somebody had succeeded in getting through all levels of the game, and so there was much kind of light and celebration and cheering as I arrived. So no, it was great, and the whole atmosphere of it was fantastic.
I loved seeing all the happy faces of people playing the game. Our enthusiasm was like reflected in their happiness. And it brought so many new audiences to the church and to engage in our work.
Working on it for 3 months, finally getting to see the community and the players like come and play the game and actually seeing the joy that people had while playing it really made all of the hard work worth it.
It was a really lovely bunch of people, it was a really great project, so the testing days were really, really fun and enjoyable, and that first time of seeing it all come together on the side of the church was really special.
Being able to, from a cinematography point of view, being able to capture people's emotions like from the event, I think being able to see people smiling, laughing, arguing in the pod was really enjoyable to kind of capture that.
I think seeing that animation, the winning animation, was just beautiful.
And plus the googly eyes that I put in, I still hold on tight to that. That's my favourite part. Should have put more in, but
from a personal point of view, seeing the music actually interacting with the visuals it felt good. To say the least, it felt good.
I think LUX is unique because it does bring lots of different creative disciplines together, so it is very technically advanced.
Having a game that anyone can walk up to, even if they've never played any video games before, and instantly understand how to play it.
Yeah, I think it was the scale of it was pretty amazing, being in the middle of the Bombed Church there and seeing it mapped against the inside structures. So the scale, and I think the innovation of the interactivity with the game, and that I guess was why we were so interested in getting involved, because it was pushing technology and innovating in new ways, in new spaces in Liverpool, and they really chimed with us and chimed with what we're trying to do as theatres as well. So I think that's what I really took away from it, is that it was something new, and it felt like a great experience from people in Liverpool on LightNight.
The most unique thing about LUX, I think, is that it's so far the largest projection mapped game that's been done anywhere in the UK, which is pretty decent accolade in itself.
The fact that we managed to do it during a pandemic and we managed to do it safely, so in terms of the controls, we're completely touch-free. It was an experience that you could have with multiple people, which was really nice, because I think we've all missed that.
Not many people have made interactive projection games of this scale, so it's incredibly exciting sort of development in the use of projection mapping and interactive technology. Just remind me the question.
There were so many different elements and different companies that came together to do it that all enabled each other to try new things and to work differently than they've ever worked before. So the whole event was kind of bigger than the sum of its parts.
It's a whole new way of engaging with our built environment and the world around us and how we see and interact with it.